is from the old weeb. The old weeb. He is old. He's weeby. He's got when he makes his morning doo-doom, when he makes his normal morning doo-doom in the toilet, he knows that it is old and powdery, and that is the weeb we're talking about today. And this is called the Anime Denial Club. Fans refuse to believe facts about their favorite series. Now, I'm wondering if he's gonna go after some of my favorite series. We're gonna find out. I want to know what the criticisms he has on these anime shows. So, are you guys ready? I'm ready. I might be yelling too much. It's probably destroying my poor mic, but let's get into it.
Here Jay talk about how certain groups of anime fans, I swear, do not have eyes, or they're the most disingenuous people you ever meet in your life. There's some points in anime where you realize something might be wrong, a plot hole, etc. And if you can recognize it, you think someone else who enjoys the media be able to criticize it too. But unfortunately, they can't, and they will make mental gymnastics and find every which way to try to defend their show from any level of criticism. Let's get into it.
I mean, I like that. I kind of, here's something I critique on people, and this is just a me critique as a viewer and not as a YouTuber, because I used to have a long intro in my videos. If you do an intro, then an intro, a lot of people will kick off because of it. That is something a lot of bigger YouTubers have told me. They told me to kick my intro. I said, skibbly doodle, my dude. I will pop that dude right out of here. Just pop it like a pimple right off of my left butt cheek. You know what I mean? Now, this is so far looking pretty good, but...
I think the easiest ones to focus in on right now would be the big three, but I have more like obscure examples. But let's go with the big three one by one. Starting with Bleach. Bleach out of the big three is probably the one that's most beguiled and also the one most disrespected, because every time someone makes...
By the way, I will fully admit that Bleach, it has a ton of problems. And when I tell people to watch Bleach, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna let you know, Bleach starts off rough. I mean, rough is like... You know when you've had, like, a bunch of spicy, like, chili, and you also drink a really big soda, and then you have that burp where some bile comes back in your throat and it burns you, but it still tastes like the chili, so you're not too mad? That's kind of how Bleach's early seasons are, mainly because if you don't look up the filler list, you'll end up with the, like, Bukkake arc or whatever it's called, and... That shit just ain't it, Chief. It ain't it, Chief. It is not what this world's about, bro. It is so Middleton. It is so freaking Middleton. Have you seen the price for Switch shit? Oh, dude, the Switch stuff, so expensive. So garbage. Dude, Switch better, like, the Switch 2 better pull out, like, a pocket pussy onto my wiener and start going... in order for me to pay those prices. I mean, I am excited because the Switch 2 looks cool, but they came, the sad thing is they're launching the console at an affordable price, but it's just really the price of the games, dude. Insane. And the problem too, and this is what a lot of people aren't thinking about, and I know I'm off topic now, but I'll wrap this up really quick. The biggest problem is Switch or Nintendo hates dropping the price of their games. So once they set that shit at a price, you might get like a $10-20 discount down the line, but it won't ever be like the deep discounts you see for other developers. But yeah, no, Bleach has a bunch of mid that's going on, and some of the I think that the arc where they go like to the underground or whatever, the end of that arc is amazing, but the arc kind of outlives its welcome. It gets really boring in the middle. All of the Bleach arcs about in the middle of the arc get really boring. And it sucks because I love Bleach. I'm a huge Bleach fan. I think the later seasons, especially the last season before they relaunched the 1,000-Year Blood War or everything, that is an amazing arc. The one where the main character loses his powers. So good. So good. And he's like getting these new powers and he finds out the guys are evil, which he knew from the beginning. But I didn't find a lot of slow portions in that arc. I thought that arc was just amazing. And then the 1,000-Year Blood arc is just fucking so many erections.
It's a tier list involving like top 3, top 5 anime of all time, and they usually include Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball. People are always like, "Where's Bleach? Bleach deserves to be in there. Bleach is
dude. If Naruto's in there, Bleach is better. Naruto is garbage. Naruto is trash. Naruto. You know what the best thing about Naruto would have been if they never would have wrote it.
the big three. Put some respect on his name. The problem is that Bleach has what I would call a no goals problem, but also it has a problem with repeated story beats, which sounds strange in the shonen genre. But hear me out. Anime is very formulaic across decades of its work, but the problem in Bleach is that each of the arcs in Bleach after Ichigo gets his soul reaper powers are the same arc except for the last two. Meaning, in the Soul Society arc, he's going to go save somebody who got taken by.
Well, in the last two, the thing that they had to do too that I feel is here's the thing. So everything is about getting new powers, building up, which is very formulaic, very like other things. But the reason why the last two are so good, and it's why it's above, is because after he learns how to become his demon form and he fights Wachima Madouche and beats him, the ultimate powered Soul Reaper or whatever, he then like loses his powers in order to survive. And then it's just about how he gets them back. And it's not about him obtaining new powers, it's about him like building and like learning to be himself. And you actually get to see like real character structure, I guess. You get to see somebody who's like used to be the best and now is broken down. I don't know. I really like Bleach, the arc right before he fights the big guy, and then the big guy, and then the next two I thought were amazing. It's just, it's so much work to get to there. It really is. And it's where I see Bleach as being more mid compared to what it could be. Because if you look at like the last 4 arcs, they are fucking S tier arcs. They are S fucking tier arcs. And then everything before that is just a B tier. You know what I mean?
Enemy force. The Arankar arc. He's going to save someone who was taken by the enemy force.
The Arankar arc. The Arankar arc is the one that had like was so boring until it got to the good stuff. The Arankar arc starts off fire, has a long time before it gets really interesting, then gets interesting in like the last third, and it builds up to the next arc, which the next arc is amazing, and it didn't feel like it was like overblown or anything. And I actually thought that the show could have ended. It could have just cut the show.
And then
cut the show right after they beat the main guy after the Arankar arc, whatever the next arc's called. He's going to say it in 2 seconds. But after that arc, they could have just cut the show. It could have been over. He lives his life. That would have been a good ending. But I think when they did bring it back and the way they brought it, he comes back, it's such an interesting dynamic of what they do. And I really love the arc where he's working with the guy with the cross sword and everything and trying to find out what it means to be like this other style of Slayer that isn't one of the other guys. I don't know. There was a lot that happened that was really cool, and I think it really built into the 1,000-Year Blood War really, really well.
The Fullbringer arc.
Fullbringer. It was Fullbringer. But there's one between the Arankar and the Fullbringer.
Arguments about that one? You could say there was no one to be saved. In the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, he had to go to not one, but 2 different dimensions to save people who were being attacked by an outside force. But nothing.
Oh, but I'm gonna do an argument on the 1,000-Year Blood War. Because they knew the attack was coming. It wasn't really that he was saving him. They knew the attack was coming, and they were preparing him to be the biggest Giga Chad possible to go bring some business because he had the most potential to end this. It was like they knew that a war was coming. They needed to bulk everybody up, and that was the deal. And that's what makes it so freaking interesting. That's what makes it so freaking interesting in the 1,000-Year Blood War. Is it's not just go save somebody. It's like we're gonna be fucked in the ass. And we need all hands on fucking deck in order to do this shit.
About this was about what he personally wanted or was shooting for. It was more of all reactionary to what was happening in the world. He didn't really
not in the Fullbringer. It was about what he wanted, which was interesting.
Have a path that he was taking. And when you talk to Bleach fans and say Ichigo doesn't have a goal or any main driving force, they will be like, well, no, his whole goal was, protect his friends and, protect his hood. That was like, that's not a goal. That's just something normal people do with their friends. It doesn't make him any more special, except the writer gave him every race in the.
Well, I do have to disagree with the Fullbringer. I think the Fullbringer was the most you saw Ichiko wanting to do something because it was for Ichiko. I think the Fullbringer arc, and that's why it's one of my favorite arcs, and it's where I went from Bleach being okay to it's awesome.
Show, but to say that he fundamentally doesn't have an overarching goal to his story would be disingenuous if you didn't read it. Well, I've read all of Bleach multiple times for arguments, as well as just I enjoyed the series through high school. The fact is that Ichigo does not have an overarching goal that he's pushing the story like Luffy or Naruto. We know both of them want.
Naruto fucking sucks though. This is way better than Naruto. I don't care if Naruto has a goal, but it fucking sucks, and everything about Naruto is boring and shitty, and I hate Naruto. This is actually fun to watch. Naruto is fucking boring.
To be the top of their worlds, either the Hokage or the King of the Pirates. But what does Ichigo want? He literally wants just to relax and chill and enjoy his life. He's not that ambitious.
And that's fine. And that's fine. I don't think, here's the thing, I don't think it's actually a critique that he doesn't have these giant arching goals and stuff. I think just him wanting to be good at what he does and just enjoy, like, wants to chill and just fucking kill demons. I think that's fine. I don't think he has to have a giant arching goals. I think that the world's interesting enough and there's enough stuff going on that brings him into it, and he's just kind of like that reluctant main character, which I don't think they utilize enough in stories anymore, because that used to be kind of a trope. Is maybe not an anime, but I know in a lot of things where it's like it's like the Die Hard character, right? The Die Hard, Bruce Willis in Die Hard, John McClane doesn't really have any ambition. He doesn't really have anything going on. He's just there and reacting to the situations. And every single Die Hard movie, he is reacting to the situations. And all of them, except for the one that he is with his son, are good movies, I think. They're all really fun. Live Free or Die Hard was really fun. Die Hard 1 through 3 are really good. But it's all reactionary. It's all normal guy in the situation. And I think that's what makes Ichiko the most relatable out of the big three, is because he just feels like your normal dude. He feels like somebody who was thrust into a world that he has knew nothing about, but the whole world, everything in his entire life from his birth has known about this world that he is thrust into, and it's like he was kept out of the loop. So he's the normal guy getting shoved into bullshit, and I really like that aspect of him. And I think that was the main intention, and I don't think that he needs to have more ambition than just normal dude shoved into bullshit.
Just gonna be the knock against him. Now let's go to One Piece. One Piece gets a lot of flack from both its episode count to its pacing, which are genuine arguments. As someone who's mostly had to read One Piece because I got tired of the pacing and how long the anime takes, I'm not going to say the show is not fantastic when it comes to characters, world, powers, but it has flaws.
Easily the best of the big three, by the way. This is easily worlds and leagues apart from the other two in the big three. Because if I had to rank them, obviously One Piece is way fucking up here, right? It's way up here. Then fucking Bleach is like down here. And Naruto is in another county or another version of the internet in another dimension, which is the trash zone.
And if you don't see the flaws, you don't have eyes. I can think of many things that I wish I could show, but you know Toei does not like to have people talk about their anime on YouTube, but they'll let you do manga things. When it comes to scenes in the anime and how we'll have at least 2 to 3 minute wide shots of just two characters facing off and staring each other down before any real action is thrown, and this will happen over the pace of like 3, 4, 5 episodes, or you get recaps of the last episode 5 minutes into the new episode.
Yeah, no, this is a huge problem, and I guess Netflix is doing like a more streamlined version of One Piece that's like animated, like anime style. as well as I tell people all the time, if you're going to get into One Piece, the best thing to do is to just watch the live action. And anybody out there that's like, but the live action, shut the fuck up, you pussy ass bitch. You're a pussy bitch, and everybody knows you're a pussy bitch. The One Piece live action really sums up the first big arc in a really easy way. It does it streamlined. I think it was pretty good. I think that they hit all the important beats. And if you really like that and you're like, I want more, dude, just I want more, daddy, then go watch the actual anime. But I'm telling you, the live action cuts you down like 100 something episodes, down to like 10 or 8 or 10. I can't really remember how long the live action was, but I think it did a really good job of the first arc. And I'm excited to see what they do with the second arc, because it does have the same series runner as the first arc. He did just quit though. He said that after season 2 he's done, which is sad. So I don't know what's gonna happen to season 3. I really trusted this guy because it seems like he really cared, and I'm hoping season 2 lives up to the same hype as season 1. We will see. But it's all about, I think that if Netflix can really lock down like a more streamlined version, it would be nice for new fans into the genre, new fans into One Piece, because it is a daunting task, and it goes from like potato quality all the way up to like admittedly some of the best fights in all of anime. But it's like goes like that old anime that a lot of people are just kind of janky with to new, because it's been going for so fucking long. And I think that it does need a kind of a refresher.
We're not really getting the right amount of content for what should be a grand adventure. And the thing is, while One Piece definitely has best side characters in comparison to Naruto and Bleach, our main character Luffy fundamentally hasn't changed.
I don't care. I want Luffy to stay the same. I want Luffy to say this. And you know, it's not true that he hasn't always changed. He has seen where he wasn't good enough and had to. There's been moments where he's been put on the spot and had been forced to change from some of his other crewmates like Zoro and stuff. And it's almost like he is best the way he is, and not to fuck him up, because I don't fucking want him to be a main character like a Naruto. I fucking hate Naruto. I did not enjoy Naruto. I know I've said it like 47 times in this video, and I say it anytime I know Naruto is going to be brought up. I don't like Naruto. I don't think it's good. I didn't like him as a main character. I found him to be one of the most insufferable, fucking whiny pieces of shit ever put in a fucking manga or anime ever. And it's just like, I look at Luffy in One Piece and I'm like, dude knows how to just get to business quick. He just gets to business, right? He's like, oh, this guy wants to fuck with me, I'll fight him. All right, and then afterwards we can be friends. But right now, dude, I'm not gonna like sit here and whine to you why we should be friends instead of fighting. We're just gonna fucking duke it out real quick, and then we can talk about it later. And we'll have a different respect for each other, because we just whoop the shit out of each other. And I like it. I like Luffy the way he is, and I think that there could be some colossal big changes later on, where he starts to learn more and become a little more grounded. But even then, I don't think I would want it, because I love the way he is. I think that everyone else with their growth and their ambition and their change, I think that they all work for it. And I think Luffy, when he needs to be serious, he's serious. But when he the rest of the time, him just being Luffy and just being amazing, I love it. I don't want him to change. Now, I know that some people might take it as a critique, and that's fine. That you watch One Piece, you don't like him as a main character, you're like, I would like to see a bunch of growth or something. That's fine. That everybody is welcome to their opinion. I understand it as a critique in terms of a story. I just love the fact that he is the constant. It's like when I'm watching like the Naked Gun movies with Leslie Nielsen. I like that Leslie Nielsen is the straight guy. Leslie Nielsen is never doing a bit. He is going into these comedies as the serious actor, and everything around him is goofy. So the fact that Luffy is the serious one, or Luffy is the goofy one, when a lot of the other characters are really serious when all the shit's about to go down, it's refreshing. It's almost like he's so naive, and he doesn't care that he's naive. That he's just going to keep doing his shit. And I think that it works so well for the storytelling and the world building.
His character, since like the beginning, he's definitely grown up in a sense because of what happened during Marineford. But if you look at the way he carries himself in every arc and every kind of interaction, he's the same dude every single time. Which isn't an inherent problem. He's a consistent character, I would say. But where's the true like growth in relation to, say, Naruto and some other animes?
Naruto's fucking garbage. Here's the thing. Everybody talks about like Naruto and growth. Naruto is the same annoying little prick from the beginning. He just gets more powerful. He's the same thing from fucking episode 1 all the way through the pain arc, which is all I watched. I watched the pain arc because everybody said, you gotta get to the pain arc, you gotta get to the pain arc, then it gets good. So I watched all the way through the pain arc, and he's the same fucking insufferable prick throughout all of it. He's just whiny and complaining, and he's the victim, and he needs this, and nobody respects him here. And then he like does something cool, and he works like, don't get me wrong, like his power scaling and stuff, he does get stronger, but he still is whiny. He's still fucking. I hate him. I just don't like Naruto. I never liked a single thing. And his character would develop a little bit, but it was more like the side characters. Some of the side characters in Naruto are the only reason that I kept watching the show. Like Jiraiya. And when Jiraiya died, I was like, "Fuck this, dude. You mean I have only Naruto now?" And at that point, Sasuke had already gone and like went to the other side. The girl you barely ever see anymore, and it's just fucking Naruto. And it was so fucking annoying, dude. Believe it! Let's talk about our feelings! Shut the fuck up, Naruto. Dude, fuck that show.
Are the big three, is that most of Luffy's crewmates are usually the ones who have changed, evolved, and have been some of the more driving forces between Luffy versus Usopp, Zoro being the one to take on Luffy's pain, like Sanji abandoning the crew, the whole Kick Island arc, like... Most of the time, we see more character development and story through his crewmates than himself, because he's just kind of along for the ride. And again, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic character, better than Ichigo, but to act like he has not been stagnant for the majority of the run is, again, disingenuous. Now let's get to Naruto. And Naruto, of course, has its mixed share of plot holes and issues that one could bring up, sort of plot holes. But I think one of its biggest flaws is due to simply the fact that Kishimoto wrote himself into a corner and how to deal with Madara, and it kind of very much sullied the ending of the show, even though that wasn't even the real end. We still had 2 whole battles left over after the fact, but it's such a terrible...
I never watched this shit. I just, like, I watched the pain arc and I just couldn't give a fuck. Like, you just can't pay me to give a fuck about Naruto. I pushed so hard on Naruto. I tried so hard. I went in with a completely open mind. Was like, I'm gonna give this a shot because I'd watched Bleach. I'd watched One Piece. I was like, okay, everybody tells me to watch this one. It was the one that everyone was recommending. I mean, you go on fucking Hulu, Crunchyroll, all of them are like, watch more Naruto. And I watched it and I just do not like it. I don't find it memorable. I don't find any of the characters other than Jiraiya interesting. The gray-haired guy with the covered eye is okay, but it's just everything's okay. It's like stuff that other anime I think do way better. There's moments where you see like, oh, this is kind of okay, and then it's just, I don't know. I really didn't like Naruto.
Tasting people's mouths and how much Madara was built up, that it was such a letdown that it's a fair criticism. What's not a fair criticism is when it comes to people's kind of attack on the show in relation to how its powers and abilities work, as if things weren't blatantly shown or seen. And then there's something that I think relates to all 3 of these shows, and that's how all these battles shown in anime, even though One Piece is more of a journey shonen, have data books that give statements about certain powers and abilities of the show. And I find it weird that with Naruto data books compared to One Piece and Bleach, we all have to have eyes. We all read them, but I'm supposed to somehow undermine the Naruto ones compared to the other ones, and like statements that are saying things made of this versus that, despite having the same composition. Like, what are we doing here? And it just, I don't understand why we have to stop reading and start imagining. Another thing about Naruto, people say that, you know, Sasuke has some mad plot armor as far as things that definitely should have killed him. But my thing with that is, we're not going to talk about that in any way, shape, or form in comparison to what happened in both Bleach and One Piece.
Well, see, we're not actually critiquing Naruto, though. I feel like he's defending Naruto. It's almost like he's the fan refusing to believe shit about Naruto. And again, I like this guy. There is so many, like, so much stupid shit that happens in Naruto that's just like, okay, we're just gonna go by that. All right. Like, everything breaks down to big fights about to happen. It sort of happens. Fucking Naruto tries to talk his way out of it. Big fight's about to happen. Naruto talks his way out of it at the end. Feelings, feelings, feelings. Gay, gay, gay. I don't like Naruto.
With Bleach, the amount of times I've seen someone in that show bifurcated, straight up cut in half, cut in two, cut down, and they're not going to die. That could be a result of them being Shinigami, but then what's the point of showing the dramatics of that attack if it meant nothing? And then
by the way, this is not a gripe I had on it. I just thought Naruto as a character sucked. I just didn't enjoy him. I didn't find anything relatable about him. I thought that every time he got to the end of an arc and it was like, I don't want to fight. I'm going to be the Hoagie. I don't want to fight. No, everyone bullies me. That's what I didn't like about Naruto, dude. That was the whole show.
One Piece, Oda himself has stated that he doesn't have people die a lot in the show because he wants to draw parties after every arc. So characters will survive these absurd attacks that, quote, could be city level.
And I have no problem with any of this. I actually don't mind. I didn't ever think like, oh, it's crazy that Sasuke didn't die. I don't care about that, dude. This is not a gripe I had personally.
All the way up to baby country level, and they're just brushing them off like nothing happened, or they just simply don't die because Oda said, nope, I want to throw a party at the end of this arc. You have to be able to say, come on now. Some characters should just bite the dust. And a different kind of talking point, and something I'm probably going to dive into a more detailed video, is the kind of condemnation of one anime compared to another, despite having very similar themes, motivations, and outright kind of main characters out of question of morality, and that's Rising of the Shield Hero and Redo of Healer. Both of these shows involve, a male character who has been put into a party system with certain roles, be it a tank, healer, DPS, etc., and have been super mistreated, downright, turned into a second-class citizen by a princess of a kingdom. The only difference is Nafumi got even over the course of the entirety of season 1 and got vindication by turning their name from one thing to another, and Kiaru got personally involved with how he got his revenge against the princess and her sister, who's the other princess, who were both abusing him. And the idea that one show, I guess, gets vilified compared to the other for reasons that we can easily surmise, but I think it's the fact that they're both revenge stories, and the idea that we have to feel...
The problem with Rise of the Shield Hero, to be honest, is once you get through the fact where he gets his revenge, the show gets really mid really fast. I actually liked the intrigue of Rise of the Shield Hero when he was on, like, the scrape at the bottom of the shoe, and then like he gets through that and he's like fighting a turtle and shit, and I just don't care. I really wanted to love Rise of the Shield Hero. I thought that it was really interesting. I thought the characters were dynamic. I liked the fact that he got his, the people who, like, poo-pooed on him and accused him of actually vile stuff. He actually got his revenge. But my problem with Rise of the Shield Hero is everything that comes after is incredibly forgettable. Like, incredibly forgettable. And I kept watching because I liked the early, I think it was the first season so much that I think I watched all three. I think there's 3 seasons. I watched all 3 seasons, and I can only tell you what happened in the first season, to be honest. That's it. I know he has, like, a village. He has, like, a village, and he, like, does stuff only when he has to because he has the village. But to be honest, it was just, it gets so mid after the great first season. I feel like they could have made it last a little longer. I don't know. I feel like there's other animes that have now done the trope where it's like they get kicked out of the party and they come back and they're like doing their own thing now way better. One is coming to mind is, I don't know, it's about something, it's like another, I was kicked out of the heroes party. Now I want to be like I want to open a drugstore or something. That one's actually, it's not great, but it's, I don't know, it's fun. The first season was really good. I haven't watched the second season. It might be poop, but I enjoyed the first season, how it was just kind of like a more laid back look at it, and how I don't know if you've seen it, let me know in the comments below what you think, but I really liked the direction that one's gone. I've been kicked out of my A rank party is interesting. It's a little cheesy at points, which like it's a fantasy or a fantasy fucking anime anyways, and those are kind of mid to begin with. A lot of them are mid, but I think that it has more dynamic in its characters. But there's also that other one, or the got one with the magic guns that I'm sorry, but that shit I wanted to like because I was like, oh, gun magic, and then it was just kind of like made me uncomfortable because it's a bunch of like, it's like got that harem, it's got the harem thing, but the harem thing is like, let's see how many, we got 1,000-year-old vampire, and let's put her in skimpy outfits, and I'm like, yeah, no, dude, get the fuck out of here, dog. I don't like that.
Sympathy for the characters that they're happening to is crazy, simply due to the fact that what were they doing to the main character? And then people will say an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, and I'm like, maybe in terms of the real world, but in the fantasy setting, that's perfectly within their realms because that's the world that they created. That's the world that they
I'm
live.
still mad that he didn't critique Naruto. Dude, I like this guy. I think he's made a good video, but the fact that he blew by and just defended Naruto makes him a fan that refuses to believe facts about their favorite series. Because I'm not the only one that thinks Naruto is a terrible main character. I am not the only person that believes that. There's other people that believe it, but the Naruto fandom will come up with like defenses for it and then use the big three as a comparison when it's like, dude, Naruto fucking sucks, dude. Like, to be honest, and I do kind of hate that he didn't look into more criticisms about Naruto. I think that kind of puts him as in the same category of the people he's talking about.
By and some for more medieval and like European style animes, that was the way in history. Another distinction between two characters of vastly different animes and then vastly different results, but want the fundamental same thing and have talked about it, but don't get compared in the same light, would be Monkey D. Luffy and Eren Yeager. Both of them are after the idea of pure freedom and the ability to do whatever they want, however they want, by standing atop of the world in a way. It's just Eren was about that action, and Luffy kind of just, it's a terrorist who runs around.
Okay, we're gonna stop for a second before we call him, Luffy a terrorist. I'm gonna be real here. Eren Yeager literally is a terrorist. He literally like bombed like civilians in order to hold on,
around helping his friends in the name of terrorism. And the idea that they're not the same is only due to the actions of Eren, but kind of ignoring.
Eren does acts of terrorism in the show. Like, I'm not crazy here. He's like an actual terrorist. And then he goes for like all world genocide. Now, I haven't seen I didn't watch the ending of Attack on Titan because to be honest, I don't love Attack on Titan that much. It's good. It's just not my favorite. It has like good stuff going, but I just don't love it. I never was like, oh, dude, Attack on Titan's the best. I watched it. I'm like, it's good. It's just not. I don't know. The main character just kind of becomes like, you kind of see him going down this route of I'm gonna go and kill all these different people, and it's like, yeah, like you can look at the other group, like that other city and stuff that he's going after as like they're kind of like a fascist regime, but he's still a terrorist in that against that fascist regime. You can make that same excuse like for Luffy, but Luffy doesn't like intentionally go into an area planning on destroying it, right? There is usually something that happens that then changes it to where the battle begins. Eren goes into these areas with the intention to fuck shit up, intention to destroy things, which is with the intentions of acts of terrorism. He like goes to an area, formulates an entire idea how he's gonna destroy festivals and shit with by turning into a giant fucking titan, and it's like, yes, he is a fucking terrorist. Like, Luffy, on the other hand, is just like a pirate in a world, right? He's just like doing his thing. It's the age of pirates. There's millions of pirates out there, and he's sailing the seas. And some of those other pirates run into him and then want to cause shit for him, and he fucking fights back. That's really how One Piece always breaks down. There's been a few times where he's gone to a place to save somebody, and he's there to fuck shit up, but usually those are against, like, the one example I 100% am thinking of is the Big Mom arc and then the Kaido arc are kind of that way, right? And they're pirate islands, so it's just like, is that as much terrorism as he's fighting other pirates who have taken over places? I mean, if we're putting him in the spot that pirates are terrorists, right? Okay, then terrorists have taken over these islands, so we're taking down another terrorist because they are pirates. That's where the logic is kind of falling down. And you look at Attack on Titan, he's actually doing terrorism, even though the people that put him on in the little world of Attack on Titan, where they're in their little fucking their walled city, they're just it's like, yeah, they're in a bad situation. They were kind of forced into this place. I get that. I'm not saying that them going out and attacking the world isn't like just, but I'm still saying that he's going to other civilizations and terrorizing them.
Or his motivations, where he personally just wanted his friends to have a good life and enjoy themselves. And Luffy, for the most part, wants to have his friends and crewmates enjoy themselves and have a good life. And
that's not true, because at the end he goes entire scorched earth to like the world, and that's not like, if you're destroying the entire world, what's that gonna leave for your friends?
As though Luffy hasn't caused wanton destruction across the One Piece world in relation to how Eren did the rumbling. They're one and the same. It's just one was a little more edgier than the other because one's a shonen and one's a seinen. But the act
no. When has Luffy gone and destroyed an entire city? Never. Like, he's every time there's been a city that's been involved, usually it's ran by a pirate that is hostily taking over the area, and he's taking it back because they were terrorists, that decided to attack a kingdom and take it over by force because they were an outside terroristic force, and Luffy just shows up and fucking's like, oh, cool, a pirate to fight. I'm gonna punch him in the fucking nuts. It feels like he doesn't like One Piece that much. And I mean, he might be a huge fan. I might be wrong, but I just, like, one's actual terrorism and the other is just like reactionary almost.
Act like you can't see the direct parallels between them is crazy. I guess to wrap it up, the other one I would say that would probably come to most people's minds is that DBZ and Dragon Ball as a whole, to act as though certain things just don't make sense when you're looking at them, even in the context of Dragon Ball. I want you to think about this, because it's probably something that is immediately coming to your mind. Goku in Super Saiyan Blue was fighting Krillin in Super, and it seemed like it was a standstill or an even match. We all know there's no way Krillin should be anywhere near, I would say, even base Goku. Super Saiyan Blue?
Dude, this is how you watch Dragon Ball Z. You turn your fucking brain off and watch Dragon Ball Z. I'm serious, dude. Dragon Ball Z is just the most nonsensical bullshit all the time. Like, constant nonsensical bullshit. But you watch it because it's iconic. It kind of laid the groundwork for what Shonen would become. And it's fun. It's fun. It's like popcorn flick shit. It's not that deep. That's the way I look at Dragon Ball. And I'm never going to get into the discourse of like, oh, there's plot holes in Dragon. Yes, there's tons of plot holes. There's tons of fucking nonsense that happens in Dragon Ball. But it's Dragon Ball. It's not supposed to be your grand thing. It's just supposed to be fights of the week type shit. And that's how I've always looked at Dragon Ball.
Goku, though? And it was holding his own?
Like, if you want to talk about like bad main characters, Goku cares more about getting in fights than he does raising his own children. Dude's the worst father in all of comic books. All of comic books ever. Dude's like, I'm gonna go get in a fight, and then I'm gonna die and spend 47 years in heaven, even though we can make it so that they can wish me back to life. No. I'm happy to live in heaven and not do my fatherly duties. Like, if we're actually gonna look at it with a critical lens, Goku is the world's worst fucking father.
Come on. And like we should be able to say that's a writing flaw or that's a problem, but you know, maybe some people just don't have eyes. Hey, put down in the comments any kind of shows, manga, or moments within those that you saw something plain as day, and when you brought this up, people acted like you were crazy.
The biggest writing flaw in entire history is the entirety of Naruto. That's the biggest writing flaw in all of history, and I'm gonna comment that. I think I misspelled Naruto. I don't even know how to spell that little fucking douchebag's name. There we go, dude. That is the biggest flaw in all of anime. Right there is just Naruto. It's just so bad. I fucking hate Naruto. The whole thing's garbage. I actually kind of agree with a lot of this video, and I think there's a lot of people who just want to defend their favorite shit all the time, and I kind of did it for One Piece. I mean, it's more of a fun thought experiment. And it's something I say all the time when I'm reacting to drama or some of this other shit that I do on the channel. Poopy. It's stuff that I do on the channel where I talk about the woke stuff, or I talk about mainly it's the woke stuff, is where I purposely, even though I agree with a lot of the sentiment of like get this DEI stuff out of video games, I still sit at the premise that I think that as a I want to try to see both sides. I want to try to look at all the critiques of the movement. I want to look at all the critiques for the movement, and I want to make my own informed decision. And I think that almost anything, like if you really like something, and like let's say Halo is one of my favorite things of all time, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like a lot of Halo fans will, that the story when Bungie was doing it was perfect. It was perfect, and then when 343 took over, they lost the plot, right? No. Fuck no. Not even a little bit. Dude, even the creators will say that they fucking retcon shit for Halo 2. There was a ton of plot holes. They just kind of did shit. That's just kind of what they did. They were like, oh yeah, we were like, fuck, we got ourselves in a corner here. The corner doesn't exist. The corner doesn't exist. Go fucking right by it. And I will fully admit that, and I know that even with knowing that, Halo 2 is still my favorite, still is my favorite game of all time. Bad choice. I fucking love Halo 2. It was my first game that I fell in love with, that I truly was like, this is the game that makes me love gaming. So it puts a high bar there, nostalgically, and for me, where it's like it's a bar that can never be beat because I have so many memories with it, with friends and family, and moving on. But I do like to critically look at things that even I enjoy and think, okay, are these good critiques, or are these malicious critiques? And then I will look into it. I will do some research against and for, and then I will find and make my own opinion. And I think everybody should do that, and it's even more important to do with the things you love. Don't be a fanboy. Don't be a fucking fanboy. Look into things, make your own informed decisions at the end of the day. But with that, guys, I hope you like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.